We sippin' slow, post some more. Yeah, we just sippin' slow. Lean, crush.
Hey y'all, thank you for sipping it slow. If you're new here, thank you so much for coming through here. My old crew, I always love you. All right. Let's talk about how y'all letting these kids break y'all up in y'all relationships, okay? Y'all need to stop letting your kids break what God has joined together. Hear me. Too many women, and yes, some men too, put their children above their covenant. But I came to tell you tonight that this is not God's order. And anything out of order, no matter how much you love and pour into it, will eventually collapse. The word says in Genesis 2:24, therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. That's God's blueprint. That's the original design. Notice he didn't say the man leaves his mother and father to cleave to his children. He said to his wife. Covenant first. See, children are the fruit, but your spouse is the root. And when you place fruit above the root, you starve the tree. That's why so many homes today are divided, because we replace God's order with our feelings. Let's deal with the reality. Your kids, they will grow up. They will leave. They will chase their own dreams, make their own mistakes, fall in love, and in time, they will prioritize their partner over you. That's the cycle. And it's not betrayal. It's the very same cycle you should be living. But if you have built your entire identity around being everything to those kids, then when they leave, you'll be left with nothing. Nothing but a broken covenant you neglected. Statistics don't lie. Studies show one of the top reasons marriages collapse after 15 to 20 years is empty nest syndrome. Couples who spent their entire life investing only in their children discover they no longer know how to invest in each other. The divorce rate among parents of adult children spikes dramatically in that season. Why do you think this is? Because they stopped nurturing the relationship, the marriage, and made their children the marriage. Ladies, I'm going to be plain and simple with y'all. You cannot raise your son to be your protector. You cannot raise your daughter to be your emotional support system. That is not their assignment. That is your husband's role. And when you put those kids in a position that was never designed for them, you crush them with expectations they were never meant to carry. Men, don't think you're off the hook. A man who doesn't put his woman first will forever be chasing other women. And none of them will satisfy him. Why you think that is? Because he rejected the rib God handpicked for him. The rib that protects every vital organ in his body. Understand this. When God pulled that rib from Adam, he wasn't just creating a wife. He was creating the protector of his heart, the guard of his lungs, the shield of his very life force. So when you dishonor the rib, you hear me? You expose yourself. You leave your heart uncovered, your breath unguarded, your very existence vulnerable. Honor your rib, brother, and you will live. I'm going to say it again. Honor your rib, and you will live. Dishonor her, and you will forever struggle to breathe. And wives, listen closely. A wife who dishonors her husband may never know the shelter of his covering again. Honor is not slavery. You guys hate to be submissive to a good man. Honor is strength. When you dishonor your man in front of your kids, you teach them that marriage is disposable. Authority is negotiable and the covenant is optional. That's how cycles of brokenness are born. Yeah, your kids will be mad as hell. Yes, they will rebel. They will throw temper tantrums. Yes, they will accuse you of choosing your spouse over them. But hear me, choosing covenant is not rejection, it's protection for you, protection for them, protection for the legacy. If you know your God, you already know you'll be okay. You always say, I believe God did this for me and I'm favored. But you don't follow the blueprint. Even though that he told you that this is what you should do, you still want to do it on your terms and think you're going to be okay. You never going to be okay doing it your way. Okay? So stop doing what you want to do and trust him for real. Don't say you trust him and you ain't trusting him. Let's get practical. Research from family psychology shows that children raised in homes where the marriage is prioritized grow up more secure, emotionally, emotionally balanced, and better at forming healthy relationships themselves. All the women and the men that's in a household that they shielding their kids, they using their kids for emotional support or security. Their kids are broken. They're insecure. They're always depressed because they don't put their relationship first. They don't know how to be uh in a woman way. Okay? They used to breaking up relationships and they just know that they are entitled. They know that whatever they say goes. Okay? So they always feel like when the people on the outside let them down, they can't handle it because you set them up for failure. So it's your fault. Okay? But when they are raised in homes where marriage is prioritized, they grow up more secure, more emotionally balanced, and better at forming healthy relationships themselves. Why? Because they saw unity modeled. They saw two adults standing as one. And when kids grow up witnessing loyalty, because you're not being loyalty to your woman or your man if you picking your kids over them. They witness loyalty, sacrifice, and love. They learn to carry it. But when kids grow up in homes where mom or dad made them the center of everything, they grow up entitled, unprepared, and deeply insecure because no child is supposed to be the center. God is, okay? So if you don't put God first and what he tell you to do first, then you're going to have problems. Okay? So it's supposed to be God in the center, then the covenant, then family. That's the order. So I say again, stop letting your kids divide your house, y'all. Okay? A house divided can never stand. Now, here's the uppercut. You can play with your job, you can play with your money, you can play with your image, but you cannot play with God and his order. Every man and woman who tried to rewrite his order failed. Kings failed, queens failed, then the nations collapsed. And you think your household is the exception? No, it's not the exception. You better wake up. If you break the order will break you. But if you honor the covenant, everything attached to you will flourish. Your marriage, your kids, all your legacy. That's the power of God's design, honey. He don't make no mistakes. I'm telling you. So make a choice tonight. Love your kids. Raise them with all your heart, but never, never, never place them above the covenant God gave you. Because when those kids are gone, the covenant will remain, okay? And what you made of the covenant will remain. So if you kept chaos in the house and everything that's going on with them kids, it's going to stay in the house. They're going to leave it there, okay? And if you don't guard the covenant, don't be surprised when there's nothing left to guard you, Okay? So anybody that has kids, when you show your kids loyalty and realness and what's going on, and you don't give them options as to what you're going to do as a wife, it shows them that you can be sturdy and stern, and it shows them how to be if they ever have kids, because you don't want your grandkids messing up your daughter's relationship to a good man, because it's going to happen, because that daughter don't know how to pick her husband, and they don't know that family life is the life that was designed for them. So you got to be smart. It's going to hurt you. You might cry a couple of times, but once you get tough, you're going to be able to be like, oh, I said no. Did you ask my husband? Did you ask my wife? Oh, they said no? Oh, then no. Don't ask me again, and don't never play with me like that again. If my husband said no, then that's what it is. Okay? And that means that makes the kids show that man love and respect. They don't go around and whisper, y'all in the room whispering and telling each other, oh, we gonna do this, and the husband don't know. Girl, you messing up your life. You are messing up your life, and one day he gonna get tired. Okay? And every time they around and they want to be around you, you act funny. You doing something else because they want to do it. No, them kids got to know this is the design and this is what you're going to live out by, or you don't have to be here. Okay? And as far as men, if you letting a little your kids disrespect your wife and stuff, trying to fight her and all that stuff, and mistreating your wife, you know, it's going to happen to them in their relationship. They kids is going to mistreat them. Okay? So you got to let them know that your covenant is powerful, and that you are not going to let nothing come in between it. All right? And I just feel like when you in a relationship and you in love with that person, that's your wife especially, nothing comes before it except God, okay? And if you don't have God at the center of your life, you won't know that. Y'all doing too much. Y'all acting like y'all married to y'all kids, like they ain't going to grow up. And you're going to feel so, you're going to have, I had empty nest syndrome, and then when I had the empty nest, and I wasn't with my guy then, I moved in with him, okay? Because she grown now, okay? Let me do my own thing. And she happy for me. Kids that grow up in a sturdy household, they be happy for you. They don't be like, you with him, you did this, because you still taking care of them, and then you ain't gonna pick nobody who gonna mistreat your kids. So what you scared to trust the process for? When you know you picked the right man or the right woman to be over your kids, why do you think that you should pick your kids over your mate? It's your helpmate. So, help your mate discipline them kids and take care of business with them. Or you're going to have to deal with the consequences when everything fall. All right? But I ain't going to talk no more. I love you all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all watch my longer videos to get me monetized. I really appreciate it if y'all watch like 10 videos of mine a piece. All right? That's a stretch, but couple of them at least. All right, so we can see if we can get monetized. Even if you don't listen to them, turn it down and just let it play. But okay, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and make sure you're sipping it slow. All right.
Sipping slow, still moving fast. It's hard to clock my speed. No longer fair when we get active. This the champion.